Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. In Surah Ar Rum, we have seen a number of causes of the collapse of societies. And the primary cause is that when the society follows man-made solution in a sector where there is a God-made solution, where is an Allah-made solution. So when the community refuses to follow the divine solutions prescribed to them by messengers, and they oppose the ways of the messengers, that is the root cause of the collapse of their societies. And Surah Ar Rum in various locations repeatedly points out those areas in the society where this kind of disobedience of divine rule leads the society to the collapse. And this collapse has appeared in various past societies, in the Roman Empire, in the Persian Empire, at the time of the Nuh, the tribe and the people of Nuh, and so small scale, large scale, global, local. It's a consistent phenomenon that whenever societies goes against the rulings of Allah, they will face the problem. The problem might not appear overnight, but the effect of the disease starts to eat up the society from inside. And sometimes it appears to us that a very insignificant event has triggered the falling of this house of cards, but from inside, like a cancer cell, it worked for years together. I think Surah Ar Rum gives us lots of hints. As the Roman Empire has collapsed, and it took some number of years in the past, the Neo-Roman Empire, the Greco-Roman inheritors of our current civilization, which is led by those Anglo-American, European, or what we call the Western civilization, we can assure you that most of those parameters and effects of the destruction or the causes of the destruction has already been working from inside, and it's only a big body that appears like a giant, but a small blow of a wind perhaps is gonna let it go down. And I think in the realm, I have talked last time about the area of finance and economies and the riba-based system that the Surah Ar Rum has hinted on that. Today, I'm gonna continue taking another area, and it goes deeper. This is at the individual level, at the essence of human being. Because human beings are the Khalifa on earth. They are the one who builds the civilization. They are the one for whom, according to the Quran, this whole universe is created. The earth and the heaven, these are created for us as a human being. And as such, we have lots of responsibilities. And Allah has given us lots of bounties and made things easy for us so that we can make progress in this earth. So in the center of any human population or progress on earth, at the center is the human being, the individual. And the individual means he didn't come to earth just like that. There is a family, father and mother. So we are talking about the family. We are talking about the human being. These are the building blocks that forms the societies. So if we wanted to go deeper into the essence and nature of human being, who is a man? What is a human being? What's his definition? What does he need? Why he was created? This seems to us to the Western culture, these are very philosophical questions, and they tried to answer it, and as they were miserably wrong in addressing the financial sides or the economic sides, they are even worse when it comes to understanding the essence of human being, their nature. And as such, this is yet another area where the Western cultures and civilization, under the umbrella of secularism and atheism, they have failed a lot. And if you read Surah Ar Rum, let's say verses 20 and onward, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَكُم مِّن تُرَابٍ. Among Allah's sign is that He has created you from turab, from dust. ثُمَّ إِذَا أَنْتُمْ بَشَرٌ تَنْتَشِرُونَ. And then, behold, all in a sudden, you are human beings spreading over the earth. Look at the majesty of this verse, right? The power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the author, He is the engineer. He has created us from dust, the first human being, which is Adam. And from Adam, He has created his wife. And then between husband and wife, there is the biological means of reproduction. And He has created the psychology, the chemistry, the biology, the mental, the emotional. He has arranged it as such that the human population, and for that sake, any population, animal, plants, they follow similar pattern, a divine pattern of reproduction. So who is behind this? It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is an area whenever any society goes against this basic tenet of sociology, individual, their source, their need, family, and what is the framework that allows the propagation of this family. Any type of corruption in these areas is corrupting the building block of a society, and that is a symptom of collapse, and that is the symptom we are seeing today in the Western society. So continue reading 21. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. And among His signs is that He has created for you spouses from among yourselves, male and female, gender, man, he and she, and there is nothing third, let alone 72 types of gender identities that now the LGBTQ. You see, the whole movement of this LGBTQ, it's a satanic movement that goes against this basic feature that is hard-coded into the definition of human being, and how intelligently Allah brings this kind of discussion in Surah Ar Rum, where there is all kind of other elements that causes the collapse. And if you notice last time when I discussed the financial side, it came later on. I was not maintaining the order of these verses. But these verses even came earlier. We are talking about verses 20, 21 and onward. The one that I described last time was 10 verses later, which is the financial sector. But I just wanted to start with that one because it's so obvious. But these elements, this is very deep-rooted, and surely the Western civilization is marching so fast towards the destruction in this area that I'm discussing today. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا. From yourself He has created your spouse. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. Just feel the majesty of this word, the beauty of this word. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. So that you find a comfort. You find something that brings tranquility, peace and love. Second is some kind of home. When we say home sweet home, all this meaning of comfort after a day full of anxiety, going to your company, the traffic jam, all this kind of anxiety, tensions. You come to your bed, you come to your home, and you are among your family, you are among your wife, you are with your wife. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. And then وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ. And see the role of Allah. He is attributing these things to Allah Himself. جَعَلَ. He is the one who has made between you مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Compassion and mercy. مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. And the verse ends, إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ. Surely in this situation, just thinking about this family, there is a science ayat, not only one ayah, science. So it is a science of science, okay, lots of science for the people who reflect. So when it requires reflect, it requires spending time in observing the signs of Allah in this family. It's a sacred thing. It's a factory that builds the population. If you want to judge the quality of a population, you need to start with the family. And when we want to judge the Western society, they are not zero, it's minus. They are scoring minus, and some of those rational people among the West, they are just keeping the ship marching. Those who still have some family values, try to promote some family values. They are just trying to check this downfall of the Western society. So as the West has learned from Muslim world some of the elements of how to make the transaction deals in the financial world in a riba-free economy, Islam has lots of offerings for the West when it comes to the family section, when it comes to the Surah An-Nisa itself. Just read Surah An-Nisa, read Surah Al-Baqarah that describes about this marriage, the talaq, the nurturing of the kids and all the ahkam. Read Surah An-Nisa when it talks about such topics. So there are lots of things to offer. So here, ayat liqawmi yatafakkarun. People need to reflect on this. So I'm just giving a small hint here without spending much time, but this is a verse that we should not just skip, especially when we are talking about the issue of family problems in the Western societies. A person doesn't know, he cannot say for sure that is this his son or not son. The rampant of extramarital relationships, and the list goes on. And how much is the Hollywood and the media and all this industry that is predominantly influenced by the Jews have corrupted not only those Western societies, but through their media and outlets and soft power, the corruption has taken a global effect. So this collapse is a global collapse. We are not anymore in a single village or a country or isolations. All the barriers has lifted because of the globalization and the advancement in the communication technologies. And it's very amazing to see that how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is moving from describing this family to the global things, that as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is anticipating that a day will come when the whole world will be like a small village. So see the verse 22 immediately after that. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ خَلْقُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافُ أَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَأَلْوَانِكُمْ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِلْعَالِمِينَ. And one of his signs is the creation of the heavens and the earth. So we are going very global, starting from the family, and immediately we are going global. And the diversity of your languages and colors. So we are talking about the whole human globe and populations, and the tribes and the racial segregation and differences in the race, in the colors, in the languages and the geographies and the... Okay, so we are bringing a whole lot of so many things, and these are central topics of describing the intercultural relationships, the global relationships. Inna fi dhalika laayatin lil alamin. Surely in these are signs for those of sound knowledge, who have knowledge, alamin, who have knowledge of the global things. So how amazingly this surah that describes the rise and fall of societies, the global consequences, how elegantly this surah brings these global topics. Nowadays, UN and all the arms and organizations surrounding the UN, and then the US hegemony and all the organizations that helps propagate their hegemony in terms of World Bank, IMF, World Trade Organizations. And then the other side is the Hollywood and the corruption, and then the Wall Street and the corruption there is. You see, this is a whole package. And then if you go to the continental Europe, you have the European community and whatnot, their packages that is there. So all these packages and all these organizations, they have a nature of reaching out to the globe. This surah, just a small snippet that I brought you from this surah, is bringing also the global things and contrast the difference. Contrast the difference. Here is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the one who has arranged these things. He is the engineer and he is the author. So how can a rational person, as any sensible person, leave the solution that is coming straight from the horse's mouth from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How can you leave this thing and go for solutions that has already proven wrong? And the house is about to collapse, the ship is about to sink, and we are seeing every day these symptoms of, this is the real old man, the ill man who is about to die, basically. And whatever symptoms were still left, I think when the situation unfolded in Gaza, nothing is left now. Everything is now naked in front of the eyes, that what do they mean by morality, ethics, and the brutal apartheid nature of the West, not only Israel or South Africa at the time of their apartheid. The whole West is an apartheid, and it's pretty much clear out to the sun right now that when the West talks about, some of them, they go for like white supremacist, but these are, you can say, this white supremacism that comes in the hard power or a more forced nature, those who goes for shooting and these things. What has been done now through those apparatuses like World Bank or various economic forums or the World Economic, these places are soft white supremacy. And what we are seeing now in Gaza is just bringing them to hard white supremacy. I think there is no difference. Only difference that these are individuals who go for rampage and shooting, and these are governments who are providing 2,000 kilograms of explosive that is falling on schools full of refugees, small kids and things. So this is very out to the sun. No one can deny this today. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us, samawat wal ard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this variation in our languages and our skin colors, so that we know each other, we reach to each other, we identify each other, we work towards the progress and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not for this kind of racial apartheid, segregations, genocides, and all these things. And whenever the Muslims understood this type of verses and they went out of Medina with this kind of surah and guidelines from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they were the mercy for the whole nation. And because of them, people in Indonesia, they are now praying. They are a major Muslim country in terms of population. The people in India, millions of Muslims in India, they built their civilization there. They went to Andalusia and they built the civilization there. They crossed the sea and went to North America, to South America, with this kind of global outlook and mercy. Kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrijat lin-nas. You have been the best of nation, went out with a civilization. The Neo-Romans, at the time of the exploration of the Europeans, wherever they went, the Americans, when they landed to America, they met, I think, the modern day's most genocidal example, when they met the whole race of Red Indians extinct. Even today, there is no authentic evidence of the number of millions of Red Indians that were killed. And similarly, go to Australia, the scramble for Africa and these things. So contrast the example that the Muslims has shown with this kind of guidance from the Quran, contrasted with what the European colonial powers had did. Let's go to the deeper human nature. So when we fail to understand the people, we fail to use them as a building blocks to build societies and civilization, and that is the core problem of the Western civilization. Let's continue. Verse 23, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ مَنَامُكُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ وَابْتِغَاؤُكُمْ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَسْمَعُونَ. And one of his signs is your sleep by night and day. Sleeping, just ask the doctors, the psychologists, they cannot tell you much about, they just can make some guesses here and there, speculations here and there, but the deep nature of the sleeping, why people go to sleep, what is the nature of the sleep, enter the world of dream, what happens in the dream, why this kind of things, it's very difficult. And when those under the lenses of atheism, like Freud and whoever following the Freudian psychology, they are leading as the Wall Street and Adam Smith, and they have built this corrupt economic system. Now when you enter to the human being and the essence of human being, fraud and Freudian psychology and those who follow his schools, they have brought similar kind of corruption into these studies of humanities and understanding the human being and its nature. And it is cutting the cord of that is holding the human being with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these verses that is with us today, it never fails to connect every verse with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, and among his signs, human cannot survive without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ مَنَامُكُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ. This wonderful mechanism that Allah has made in the sleeping and recharging our body, refreshing our mind, and the world of dreams, all these things has brought us as a human being, brought some mechanism for us to really progress, sleep at the night, and the cycle of day and night, and the day light, you can go out, start working, night you come back, and the association of organs like the eye with the sight and the day, and the night with darkness and the role of hearing. You start to hear. Quran is something that people hear, okay? Contemplate. You close your eyes, you think, you ponder, but in the morning you open your eyes and go out to cultivate, to farm, to work, to your factories, to your schools, to your workplaces. Okay? Look at these nice arrangements that Allah has made. And whenever people tries to shake this arrangement, as the Western civilization is trying to shake this arrangement, there is going to be problem. Inna fi dhalika laayatin liqawmin yasma'un. Look at the role of the sama, who listen, the power of listening. Power of listening. Just a small hint over here. Finally, I don't want to elongate much further. I will pass very fast with 24 and 25. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ يُرِيكُمُ الْبَرْقَ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا. And one of his signs is that he shows you lightning, inspiring you with the hope and fear. وَيُنَزِّلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَيُحْيِي بِهِ الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا. He sends down rain from the sky, reviving the earth after its death. Surely in these are signs for the people who understand. Verse 25. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَن تَقُومَ السَّمَاءُ وَالْأَرْضُ بِأَمْرِهِ. And one of his signs is that the heavens and the earth persist by his command. Then when he calls you out of the earth just once, you will instantly come forth, moving us to the Yawm al-Akhir. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grants us tawfiq and hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu.